to Perplexing Puzzles. We are so glad you're joining us today. Do you love solving puzzles and mysteries? So do I. Do you love cracking secret codes and finding hidden messages? Then you are in the right place. You have an amazing mind. Thanks for using it to help us solve these perplexing puzzles. Are you ready? Let's get started. Thanks for joining us for Perplexing Puzzles. Let's start our next challenge. If you or someone you know is on our mailing list, you may have already downloaded and solved this puzzle. But if not, now is the time to hit pause, read the puzzle, and become a puzzle investigator. You can do it. Just be sure to come back when you're finished so that we can work as a team. Welcome back. I am glad you have focused on this puzzle and we are going to work together to solve it. So let's think about it. You know who did it. You know the diamonds are at his house somewhere, but you haven't found the diamonds. So you walk into the room and you see these squares and you see the board, and then you find the note. So you're off to a great start. You're able to solve this, but let's look a little more closely. Let's look at the clues and the puzzle, and let's make some observations. What do you notice? How are you going to approach this puzzle? I'm going to give you some questions on the next slide to think about, and I'd like for either you or you and your team to think about those questions, hit pause, and then come back when you're ready to talk about it. Here are some questions to consider. Think about the tiles. What do you notice? And how are we going to communicate and discuss the locations? And also, which clue do you want to use first and why? Do you have to start at the beginning? Think about all these questions, and when you're ready to get back and discuss it, hit play. I'm glad you spent some time thinking about these questions. Let's talk about it together. The tiles are actually pretty easy to organize. Even though they're bundled, you can see them all. So if we organize it, we can see our colors. And we probably want to come up with a way to label these colors so that every time we interpret a clue, we don't have to write out the entire word yellow. So I'm going to use letters. What did you decide? Did you agree that labels are a great idea? And letters work because they're all different letters. So Y for yellow, G for green, R for red, B for blue. But now we also need to label these spaces. Should we use A, B, C, D? Why not? You're right. We can't use letters because we've used letters here. But another easy label would be a number. So let's label our spaces. And as for the last question, what did you decide? Where do you want to start? In this problem, there's nothing that says this is a definite answer. So there really are several ways that you could approach this problem, and all of them will help you solve the case. But let's talk about some different ways to do it. Well, let's look at the second clue. The bottom left square is not yellow. The bottom left is 5, and it's not yellow. So I need to come up with a way to write that, and I'm just going to say 5 is not, and I'm going to put does not equal yellow. I know algebraically that's not exactly the correct way, but we're going to use it because it shows you 5 doesn't go here. Yellow doesn't go here. Okay, let's look at another one. A blue square is above a yellow square. Well, I'm just going to write this. So I have a note to myself. Blue is above yellow, and I know that's true. And I'll put a little semicolon there to show it's right above it. Of course, in this puzzle, it could only be right above it. You only have 2 rows. Let's look at the next one. The red square on the bottom row is between green and blue. Now, how does that help us? Let's think about it. We have 5, 6, 7, and 8. So what do we know about the red on the bottom row if it's between green and blue? Well, could it be 5? Could it be 6? Could it be 7? Could it be 8? Pause just a minute and talk to your team. You're right. If red is between green and blue, red cannot be 5 or 8. So I'm going to say 5 and 8 are not red. So red is either 6 or 7. I'm going to come back to that clue. Okay, let's look at the next clue. The green square is below a red square. I can just write that. Green is below red. Okay. Let's look at the last clue. The squares on the top left and the bottom right are the same color. So 1 and 8 are the same color. Well, what do we know about that? Do we know anything else? Stop and talk to your team about 1 and 8 and see what you think. Or if you're working independently, stop and think about it. What are your thoughts? What did you notice about 1 and 8? Well, let's think about it. 1 and 8 are the same color. So it really can't be green. Why? There's only one green. And what else did you notice? Well, we know that 8 is not red. So if red is not in 8, it's also not in 1. So it's not green and it's not red. Okay, let's move on. This is where you might feel really stuck. You've read through all the clues, you don't have an exact location for any color, and you're thinking, I'm a little stuck. But you are an amazing detective and you can do it. So let's take one row at a time. And we seem to know the most because of this clue about the bottom row. So I want you to spend some time thinking about that bottom row. Look at all the clues you have. Think about what you know about those 4 tiles. Consider all of your clues and really think about it and talk about it with your team if you have your team with you. Okay, give it some thought, hit pause, and when you're ready to come back to the case, hit play again. That was pretty challenging. What did you think? Well, let's think about it. From this clue right here, the red square on the bottom is between green and blue. So we know that the bottom row, 5, 6, 7, and 8, there is a red, there is a green, and there is a blue. But we also know from this clue that there is a yellow on the bottom row. So now we know all the colors on the bottom row. We just have to determine the location. We know red is right between green and blue. So red's not on the end. Red could be here. Red could be in 6. And let me do this. Let me just draw some lines to kind of help us see what we're doing. Okay, red could be 6. And then green or blue, and we don't know which one, would be here and here. And that would mean yellow would be here. Or red could be here, green and blue, green and blue. We're not sure which one. And yellow would be here. So that was a little challenging. If you assume that the red square is directly between the green and the blue because it doesn't say somewhere, and if you solved it the other way, I would take that too. But if you're thinking that it's directly between them, you also know that yellow cannot be 5. So it cannot be this option because in this option, yellow is in spot 5. So it has to be this option. So you still don't know where green and blue would be and which one is which, but I do know that red is in 6 and yellow is in 8. So what else do I know? Let's think about it. I know that 1 and 8 are the same color. So now I know that if 8 is yellow, 1 is also yellow. Stop for a minute and think about what else you know. Hit pause before we continue. I can tell you've done some really good thinking. Once you've gotten this far, the other clues seem a lot more helpful. So let's look at some of the other clues. What did you find? Well, you probably saw blue is above a yellow, so we'll move a blue above a yellow. That's done. Then look at this clue. Red is above green. Well, green has to be in 5 or 7, but it can't be in 5, so green must be in 7, which would make red number 3. What else do you know? Well, red is between green and blue, so this must be blue. And because it's the only piece left, we're going to put this tile, this yellow tile, in space 2. Did it work? Success! The correct placement of the tiles triggered a switch and a small hidden drawer opened in the leg of the table. Inside the drawer, you found all of the missing diamonds. Success! This was a challenging case, but it was worth it. You and your team are so excited. The thief, however, is not excited. He thought no one would ever find the secret drawer. He obviously did not know you would be on the job. Congratulations! You solved the case. Good work, investigator. You should celebrate now, but remember, there will always be more cases to solve. Are you ready for the challenge? We hope to see you on the next case. We need investigators like you. Perplexing Puzzles is produced and copyrighted by Amazing Minds. Visit us at www.amazing-minds.com for more puzzles and fun challenges. Also, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We don't want you to miss a single episode of Perplexing Puzzles. Thanks so much. See you next time.